Penny and this is my channel. I finally got around to finishing Diablo 3 a couple of days ago, so I can finally make a video about it, which is so exciting because I was actually hoping to finish it like really shortly after it came out, but because of downtime and work I just didn't get around to actually finishing until a couple of nights ago, which was very exciting. So I figured that now that I've finished I can finally make a video sharing my thoughts, which is what I'm doing today. Now you guys might remember that I have not actually played Diablo 1 or 2 before, which is very sad to admit right now, but I had not. The only dungeon crawler real go that I had at the genre before was actually Torchlight, which is very fun, and I only got Diablo, or I looked into it because I'd heard that, oh, you know, Torchlight's actually pretty similar to Diablo, and I was like, oh, cool. So that's all the experience I've had in that kind of genre, so this was my first real go into the Diablo series, and it was fun. The story was... I had a couple of different experiences with the story. The first one was that I did not pay attention to it at all and it bored me because I just wanted to play, and that was when I was playing multiplayer and my friends didn't care about the story either, and all we wanted to do was like power through, skip the cutscenes, skip the talking, just do the actual fighting. Which is fair enough, but it does mean that I missed out on the first half or so of the story of the game. Which I didn't mind too much because I wasn't so invested in the story, but I did start paying attention when I started playing solo around Acts 3 and 4, so at that point I did get a little bit more interested in the story, but from the beginning it really didn't grab me. I feel like I definitely would have enjoyed it more, like the actual story, if I had played Diablo 1 and 2, or at least read up on them, which I really should have done, but didn't. Like, it wasn't a bad story by any means, it was just that at first I didn't care enough about the story to actually want to pay attention to it because I just wanted to actually play the game. The game itself is actually really fun. I played multiplayer at first, for about half the game, or maybe a third of the game, and then soloed most of the rest of it. So most of the first act was entirely multiplayer, right up to the first boss, which was actually really difficult, the first boss for us. And overall, the difficulty of the game isn't too bad. It starts out pretty easy on the normal difficulty when you start, like, obviously as you go up you unlock higher difficulties, like Nightmare and Hell. Hardcore is a separate mode, but I'm sure you all knew that. But yeah, the game was not that challenging up until the very first boss was pretty challenging, and then after that kind of went down again in difficulty, and then spiked again at the second boss. I had so much trouble at the second boss. Eventually got through, and then Acts 3 and 4 really ramped it up again, especially Act 4, and the part before Act 3's boss, those areas, like, I tended to die a fair amount. Not a fair amount, but, you know, more than the start of the game, so. In terms of difficulty, it did kind of go up and down, but I felt like it wasn't too easy at first. It gave you a chance to really get used to your character and get used to practicing with different skill sets, so I appreciated that, but it definitely could have been a little more challenging, but then again I feel like that's what the higher difficulties are there for. I did mention multiplayer earlier. Like I said, I played about the first third of the game in multiplayer, and I tended to solo the rest of it, mostly. Occasionally a friend would jump in and play. I love the seamless multiplayer. I love that you can jump into someone higher level than you's game. I love that you can go back in quests and replay with someone else like an earlier part of the game. However, that came at a cost, which was the server, you know, the always online mode, which did have some issues. That server was not prepared for the amount of people who played. It was crashing, there were maintenances, there were long maintenances, long patches. It was kind of ridiculous, especially for those people who were so frustrated just thinking, I don't even want to play multiplayer, all I want to do is solo the campaign, and there were definitely some issues, and I think it comes down to, you know, obviously always online can be an issue. Apart from this, there's also latency problems, especially for those who are not situated so close to the servers. So there's latency issues, but then again, without the always online connection, you wouldn't have this seamless multiplayer, which is a great feature of the game, but I definitely feel like there should have been an opt-out feature maybe, or just like an opt-out button. I feel like you should be able to specify that, but I feel like that was the one big flaw. And they're working on it, obviously, like they're constantly trying to make the server stable and keep it stable for players, but there were definitely some issues with that on launch. Overall though, I really had a good time with Diablo 3, and especially, I will admit, I wasn't that prepared to actually finish the game, because I figured, you know, I might not like this series. I've never played it before. I could, like, hate this series, but I actually had a really good time with it, and it really motivated me to keep going. I really wanted to finish the game and, like, find out what happened and actually replay it now as a different character. And well, even I'm playing as my same character now, which is insane for me. I didn't think I'd want to do that, but it's a game that, for me, makes me want to keep playing, and I did have a lot of fun with it. Launch problems aside, and always online problems aside, it's a great game, and I had a lot of fun with it, like I've said about 5 times. Anyway, that is really all I have to say about Diablo 3. If you guys have played it, let me know your thoughts, and if you agree or disagree with anything I said, please let me know. I will have a new video up soon. I've got a list of things that I have to talk about, but one of the ones that is approaching soon, I have to make an E3 prediction / hopes video. Probably hopes, I'm not great at predicting, but I definitely plan to make an E3 hopes video because I love E3. Can't wait for E3. So keen for E3. So I will see you guys probably for my E3 hopes video in the next few days.